where Alabama football data meets California style. This is David Lampson, broadcasting from Alabama. This is Jordan Cordova joining me from California tonight. What's going on, Jordan? It's been a big week in fantasy. What's up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's been some real shockers. There've been some real big um, upsets as we saw last week. We're not you can never guess in fantasy football who's going to win or who's not going to win. Fantasy's fun because you just never know what to expect.
I had a
week in and
question
week
for you,
out.
Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
The question is let's say that because you're a Cowboys fan, let's say that you've got a big game, playoff game coming up. What are you eating at that game?
Oh, well, my family, I smoke stuff every weekend pretty much. So our go-to favorites is tri-tip, but if it's a special playoff game, I'll stay up all night and make that good old brisket for the Cowboys game. It's a 24-hour brisket, but I'll tell you what, it is worth every bit for that game.
Okay.
What about yourself?
Oh man, I'll be at work, so I'll just be watching the game from work.
Warm up, frozen, microwavable.
Probably a protein bar, and then just cry.
And just
the 49ers beat my Packers again.
Hey, it's better than you do that in the NFC Championship. At least you don't have to watch the Packers beat the Cowboys in the first or second round again. So
brutal, man. How many playoff games has Dak won in his career?
I'm pretty sure it's 2.
Worth every bit of that $60 million a year.
Rough. Hey, that is one more than Tony Romo. So we're moving up. Yeah. The next quarterback's going to get 3, and then so we're about a decade away from a Super Bowl, but we'll get there step by step.
Okay, that's good. Well, yeah, go ahead, Jordan. Let's talk about injury updates.
Injury. Yeah, absolutely. So we have some pretty big injuries that happened that were kind of like fourth quarter injuries that you wouldn't suspect going into the week, but kind of did affect going into here. So first off, the one that immediately affects me is Trey McBride. Concussion in the fourth quarter of that game last week. He is now marked as out for this week. So I have officially had to get myself a new tight end this week, which Brenton. And then Deebo Samuels is projected to play this week. We can talk about those implications later on as we're going through these matchups here. And then Rashid White with an illness overnight is now questionable to play tomorrow. So we'll see what that has there. Jordan Love, your boy.
Yes, sir.
Jordan Love projected to play tomorrow, which I think boosts maybe not all. Like Devontae Wicks and Christian Watson are still going to be an iffy play for me this week, but Jaden Reed's got to be a play this week. And that guy is stellar when Jordan Love's on the field. So outside of that, some of the other ones we have, David Njoku is definitely out again this week. TJ Hawkinson still recovering. Malik Neighbors played on Thursday, but if you saw that hit, it's a good thing he's got 10 days to get through that concussion protocol, because man, that was a brutal head slam. So Chris Olave is questionable. I think he's projected to play, but he is questionable right now. Tank Dell is officially out this week. Outside of that, let's see here. We also have AJ Brown, another game time decision, week 3 in a row. He is projected to be out. He was part of a big trade this week between Cameron and the Bears. So Cameron ended up getting Devontae Adams out of that, but we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Evan Ingram for a third straight week, which really right now that I'm seeing, there's a lot of hammies getting blown. I don't know what's going on or what happened in the offseason or what's happening, but there's a lot of hammies being blown. Evan Ingram's a hamstring injury. AJ Brown's a hamstring injury. Devontae Adams a hamstring injury. Nico Collins was questionable yesterday with a hamstring injury. There's a ton of hamstring injuries kind of going around. But we have Keenan Allen, who's projected to play. He was injured for last week, but I think he is projected to play this week. Cooper Kupp is still out, IR. And then Bucky Irving is questionable with, you guessed it, hamstring injury. So he is questionable with a hamstring injury this week. Deontay Johnson is also questionable this week with a groin. He was just limited in practice. I think a lot of these questionable people are just like excuses for them to take a rest one day. So, but we'll see. I mean, with the designation going into Sunday, yeah, I believe that we'll have to keep up to date with that. Joe Mixon is out again this week. The implications for me on that is I can start Cam Akers. So appreciate you, Joe. Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is also out this week.
Looks like I lost Jordan temporarily. Those of you that listen on the Spotify podcast won't realize that it happened. Yeah. Yeah, Jordan says his internet went down. I believe it. Well, just what's up, Caleb? A big shout out to Caleb. He's in the league. He runs Birmingham. What is their name? Birmingham Thunderbolts. And what's Caleb's record? Caleb's 1-2. Looking for Georgia. Georgia lost as well. Yep. Yeah, saw that the end of that Georgia-Alabama game right before we came up to record. Pass interference, Caleb. No call on a pass interference at the end of that. Sketchy. What I did see in Birmingham, though, as I was driving home from work tonight, that every cop is out looking for drunk drivers driving home from that game. So might be a long night in the drunk tank for a few people. Yeah, we're not really going to go over standings tonight, but God, I need a win. There's a few of us that are 1-2. That if we can go 2-2, it'll basically save our seasons. It's gonna be tough going 1-3. Cam might go 0-4 this week. I mean, we're all making moves. We're all trying to get better, but this is kind of a make or break week. Yeah, I've dropped a little bit in power rankings. Yeah. Jordan and a friend of my brother's growing up, Real Frozen Tundra. They are projected to go 1-2, and they are really good. What's up, Jordan?
What's up? Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, just ran a little entertainment for our YouTube live streamer, Caleb.
Hey, Caleb, welcome.
Yeah, he his Alabama Crimson Tide won tonight.
Congratulations. That's awesome to hear. That's a big win. Bulldogs.
They almost blew it, man. They were up big, and then they almost blew it.
Was it like 30-7 at halftime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But congratulations on your victory today, sirs.
Yeah, a win's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So sorry, I don't know where I got cut off there as far as with it. But I think I got through most of the injuries on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure who else you had on your list, but that sounded like that was about it. The last one was another hamstring, I believe.
Yeah, Bucky Irving, I think is who I was talking about. Bucky Irving was a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon is out, which allows me to play Cam Akers. Devontae Smith got hit hard. If you guys, I don't know if you saw that hit on Devontae Smith, but that was a scary hit for him. So, and then last one is Devontae Adams. That's another one of those shocker fourth quarter injuries, hamstring. He's declared week to week going in. But man, that's a tough one. I think there's some conspiracy that guy might be traded, and maybe that's why he's essentially getting the hamstring injury right now. So stay tuned. But outside of that, I think that's all the injuries we have, all the injury updates that we had this week. So I know I went through a bunch of them, but there was just a few that I felt like were going to be big factors. Devontae Adams and AJ Brown being some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the waiver wire this week. So there was a big play for Cole Kmet on the way. I like half the league tried to get Cole Kmet tight end for the Bears off the waiver wire this week. And it was interesting that Cam, his team Pigs Arse, Cam got Cole Kmet, and he's just sitting on his bench. He's got Brock Bowers starting instead of him. So I think that's an interesting play. And Caleb picked up Mike Gesicki and is starting Gesicki over Mark Andrews. I like that. Mark Andrews is not who we've seen him to be in the past, and Gesicki's had a hot start. So tight ends, a slow start to the year for tight ends, but it looks like they might be a difference maker in wins or losses in our league.
Yeah. Would you have guessed if I were to tell you at the beginning of the year that Dallas Goedert would be the number one tight end through week 3? And Cole Kmet would be the number 3 tight end through.
That's crazy.
Week 3.
That's crazy. You know, and Ferguson for Dallas, he's been great for me, but he's been as expected.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been the case for a lot of tight ends in the league, including the great Mr. Swift.
Yeah.
So, it's just been an interesting year. But this week we had a lot of action on the waiver wire for tight ends. I'm interested to see how that plays out for this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was man, I'm kind of bugged I didn't get Cole Kmet. I knew Trey McBride was going to be out. Really wanted Cole, and Cameron scooped him up. I think it's a good play on Cam's part.
Yeah, he needs it. He's 0-3.
Yeah. But all right, well, let's get into some boom or bust players that we have here. I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. So my boom, I think, comes to no surprise because he's on my team, is Saquon Barkley. He is the number 1 running back in the league right now. And can you guess, what would you guess if you were to take a wild guess just out of the dark? What do you think he's averaging points per game is right now?
23.
31.1 points per game right now.
Okay.
He is dominating. I mean, I know with the big plays last week, he got the big play, which gives him that additional 5 points. But outside of that, he is still, I mean, week 1, he's a 35.2 with 3 tutties, 17.6 in week 2, and then 40.6 last week against the Saints. Mr. Consistent, when you're down, day is a 17 to 18 point game. Man, he has been absolutely stellar.
Nice. Yeah, my boom is Justin Jefferson. There are a lot of questions at the beginning of the year. What kind of production are we going to get out of Justin? He is averaging 22 points a game. He's getting a touchdown almost every game he's been in. He has been solid. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. His quarterback's a little banged up. So, and going up against that Green Bay defense, which has been a little stingy. We'll see if Justin Jefferson can keep going, but so far the Vikings have looked better than expected. He's looked better than expected. So that's my boom for this week.
Yeah, Sam Darnold's either going to see ghosts this week against Green Bay and throw picks, or Justin Jefferson's going to have a huge week. So
he will throw picks.
That one.
That's going to be a tough game for the Vikings. I'm sorry. The Packers are ready.
I would project a low-scoring game in that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I think
Vikings
so too.
defense are stingy. Packers defense are stingy.
Yeah.
So busts. My bust has to be the player that was winning it for our one of the 3 team players that won it for our champion last year, and that has got to be Tyreek Hill. Sorry, Caleb, I know you're on here. I know that's your player there, but he has been averaging 15.5, which sounds great. But when Tua was there, he got a 33-point game with 12 targets. Since then, he's had 6 and 5 targets, averaging 6.7 points in the last 2 weeks without Tua, or with Tua going out injured. It just doesn't look good. I don't think with the Miami's defense or with Miami's offense as of right now, I don't think any team's going to be surprised, including Tennessee. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised that if he runs like a screen pass or a bubble pass or anything like that. I think they're going to be prepared for it. So either Tyler Huntley's got to throw that ball down the field and get an accurate throw to Tyreek Hill for big plays, or I don't think that he will be much of a factor until Tua either gets healthy, if he does ever come back.
My bust is Caleb Williams. He was supposed to be the next great quarterback in the league. He is not. He's not performing anywhere close to the other quarterbacks that were drafted this year in the first round. He had one game where he scored 0.36 points. He bounced back a little bit last week, but he's running for his life, and he's looking real bad. And I hate it. I hate it for Bears fans. But yeah, Caleb Williams it continues to be my bust until he proves me otherwise.
I already went on a rant last week on this. I'm not going to say it, but that's a hard organization. But I think we have our first question in the chat here from Kyle. Ford or ETN? Who would you choose this week? Jerome Ford or ETN?
That's interesting. What's your take on that, Jordan?
Personally, I think no matter who they're playing Houston. I think Jacksonville is going to be down. With that, I think ETN is a great pass catcher. Right now, he's gotten 36 carries as well. I know Tank Bigsby's taken some of it, but it still hasn't been enough. Even though he's averaging 13.1 points, he has been a consistent, 11 to 14 points, but he's a touchdown away from a few touchdowns away from turning those into big points. Like I said, I think they're going to play down. I think he's going to get a lot of catches in that aspect. I do like Jerome Ford, but I don't think that, they're playing Vegas this week, but I just haven't seen the consistency from him. Cleveland could be down to pretty much any team at this point. So if you're asking me, I think Travis Etienne is still a good player to play over Ford, only for the reasons that I think they're always going to play down, and he is a pretty good pass catching back.
I have Jerome Ford on my team, and he has been very consistently getting me about 10 to 13 points a game. He hasn't boomed. He hasn't really busted. ETN, I think he has more the scoring the touchdown potential, and he has a higher ceiling. But yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, we are getting questions coming in left and right. Aiden with a question of Garrett Wilson is facing the number one corner this week, who only allowed 30 yards total this season. Do I start him? Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week too, Dave. Patrick Surtain, you get Surtain, right? Mike Evans looked pretty pedestrian last week. Well, the performance was pretty pedestrian last week. But I think if anyone can get some points, it's going to be Garrett Wilson. I don't know if Jameson Williams is going to be the answer. He did just have a down week last week. And so I have a hard time. I have Garrett Wilson on my team. And I could play a Darnell Mooney and take a shot with somebody who has been getting some consistent targets. But if there's anything that we learned last week, even if he's playing against Surtain, Aaron Rodgers is going to try to make that guy happy. And so I think he will get the targets regardless in that aspect. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I would probably myself play Garrett Wilson this week rather than playing Jameson Williams, taking the chance on Jameson Williams as well.
I like that. And I think that connection continues to grow between Rodgers and Wilson. They haven't had a lot of time in game together. So I like that.
Yeah, and they're playing. Detroit's playing Seattle. I think they're an underrated, pretty hard-nosed defense. So I think you're going to be in that tough spot there, anyways. But I do believe that Detroit will be winning that game. And as we saw from last week, I think David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs will be doing a lot of running in that game as well.
Look at that.
Caleb, I know you have, man. You haven't gotten anything that has struck me, though. I just want you to know that. Like, it's not that I don't think that there was great. It's just not anything. He was my number 2 pick. So, keep trying. I'm telling you, he is. If you give me the right trade, he is up for sale. Just haven't gotten anything that's struck me yet. So. But okay. So I think we've gone through our bust now, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So we did want to just give a quick recap. Mont and Gibbs on the same team. I'm starting both of them. Absolutely. They both got 20 something carries last week, 20 plus carries last week. I think that's awesome. I think you want to stay, especially if you have those two, I think you want to stay away from having 3 of the same team trying to fight for those tutties. So I think Garrett Wilson is still your best bet this week. Okay, so as far as standing goes, we wanted to kind of do a quick recap of some things with standing. So we have 2 people in the league right now who are 3-0. Real Frozen Tundra, Josh, is one of those 3-0 teams who I think is still projected, and we'll kind of go through it. I think we're still projecting him to win and go 4-0 this week. And then I am also one of them. Let's go. 3-0 this week. I have the most points in the league right now. We have a league where if you get those points, you get the extra $100 for just having the points. So I'm trying to get that there. Bet under my prize on Wilson. Ready. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad one. I'm not gonna lie. Pat Surtain is a beast. So, but yeah, let's. Do you have any takes on standings?
Not really. Other than I think that it's a kind of a make or break week for the league. Injuries are mounting, and a lot of people are 2-1, 1-2. So we're going to see some separation a little bit this week. Some people are going to be 3-1. Some people are going to be 1-3. It's going to be it's going to be a tough week for the league, I think.
Yeah, I'm hoping for my wife. She's 2-1 right now. Somehow, no Christian McCaffrey, playing Ezekiel Elliott as her second running back right now, and she is somehow still squeezing out a 2-1 score. So if she can get 3-1 or get some 1 or 2 more wins while we're waiting for if Christian McCaffrey ever plays, who knows? Dude's going all over the country to find a way to get onto the field.
Yeah, we are going to make some predictions, but last week our predictions, Jordan went 2 for 6 and I went 1 for 6. So we are not good at predicting the matchups.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So we'll try to do better this week.
All right. What's our first game on the lineup? Let's go. I think we need to get like a segment. I think we need to get like a soundboard for this, like time for the matchups or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something better than that, obviously, but like I think it'd be fun.
Sounded really good. I like that.
That's how we ended up with the Gauntlet song. So.
That's right. Yeah. Let's start with me and Ben. Ben is my brother-in-law, and his team. He's a big Indianapolis homer, so he's got Anthony Richardson as his quarterback. I've got. Let's see. I was going to talk about his team. He has something that affects him. You talked about Deebo Samuel coming back this week for the 49ers. Just announced that he was starting, and he has Juwan Jennings. Lots of trade rumors about Jennings, maybe going to the Steelers, but Jennings is going to be hurt by Deebo and Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. He's got some names, man. Metcalf can boom or bust. Laporta, Najee, Green Bay's defense usually gets them some points, and Justin Tucker is a great kicker. But I think Jennings is going to hurt him this week, and I'm going to pull out the victory.
Yeah, I am also taking you on this bet. I think you're going to win this week. The people that I wanted to talk to about yours is Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has been a surprise to me. He is a top 10 running back this year. He's averaging 18.8 points a game going on right now. His position rank, or he is number 9 right now, and they just continue to feed him the ball. 19 carries last week, 102 yards. It's just crazy to me. And, he got 5 receptions in the last 2 weeks. So he is becoming that pass catcher that we know Aaron Jones to be. He had one down week against San Francisco, but anyone playing Fred Warner can absolutely have a down week running the ball. But overall, I think he's in good shape. Green Bay, once again, it's going to be a hard-nosed defense, but I think there's still a lot of room for him to make those dump down passes. And he seems to be kind of a safety blanket for Sam Darnold when he's in the kind of a pinch to get down over to him. So I think Aaron Jones is that player that I want to talk about. And really quickly, CeeDee Lamb with his comeback game. Let's go, CD. What a great pickup. You got him in what, the fifth pick this draft?
I was the 4th pick.
Imagine picking up Tyreek Hill before him. Sorry, Caleb. Sorry, I had to do it.
Brutal. All right, man. Let's talk about SWAT Lake City versus your wife. You go ahead and talk about SWAT.
Yeah, so SWAT Lake City has some people that I wanted to talk about. And so I also wanted to make sure that this wasn't something that I'm always focusing on the star players. I want to talk about the players that can really affect this week. The first one I wanted to talk about is Devon Achane, a guy with, Huntley in that backfield. I think he still has a lot of opportunities for dump downs. I think, but I think there's going to be more people in the box ready for Achane because I don't think there's going to be as much threats throwing down the field. He's kind of a hard play. You're playing him because he is a top 3 person in the position. But 8.8 points last week when a team could fully plan for that run game and passing short passes. Kind of the same thing I said with Tyreek Hill. I think the teams are going to be expecting it. There's not going to be as many 2 safety highs or trying to play the deep down ball. The last one is Jayden Reed, the guy. Only when the one game that he's played with, when he played with, what's his name?
Jordan Love.
He only scored 40 points that week. So, mind you, it was on 6 targets, but man, he's willing to throw the ball down. Jayden Reed, I think it could be a factor in this game this week.
So you're picking SWAT Lake City, is that right?
Yes, I am very hesitantly because I do think my wife has a really good shot, especially after Thursday night football. But I think the 3 points from Zeke is going to be really hard to overcome. But last week I said that about 0 points or 0.3 points for Frozen Tundra, and that guy just went out and blew the other dude out of the water. So I could be wrong again.
Yeah, your wife's team is great. I mean, she's already got 20 points from Dak Prescott. She got 25 from Malik Neighbors. So really, she just needs to kind of have some good days from specifically Mike Evans. For the Tampa Bay offense has been great this year, moving the ball, but Mike Evans has not been a part of it for the most part. So he needs to get back going for her. I think he will. She just traded Mike Evans, so this is her last week with Mike Evans. So she's got to get some value out of him before he goes out the door.
Yeah.
And then Zay Flowers, this has got to be a bounce back game for him, going up against Buffalo. So Buffalo's been giving up plenty of points. So I think Zay Flowers will find it. You're in trouble too, right?
I know. I saw my wife just messaged on here. I knew it was coming. Baby, I love you.
I like her. I like the points that she's already got, and except for her Zeke Elliott dud. But yeah, I think she's got some good booms coming this week, and she'll beat Salt Lake City.
Yeah, and I think Josh Jacobs trade is good for both parties, but I think it's going to be really good for her to kind of withstand and not have to play Zeke. And if you look at the waiver wire, your number one pick is Cordarrelle Patterson. And let's be honest, that guy was good 3 years ago, So it's crazy. You come in, that's who you would have to rely on. So I think that was a good trade for her, and it will work for her in the future. I do want to make sure that we don't skip Aiden here. Rest of season, Olave or Wilson. You have an active trade request, and I have Wilson 1-for-1. I would say personally, stick it out, man. Aaron Rodgers knows. I mean, if there's anything we learned from Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, is he knows how to get the ball to those guys. They are just building that chemistry with each other. I would project that there's going to be a lot of better days. The other thing is that Derek Carr, like last week, can turn into a pumpkin. That's just who Derek Carr is. So I don't know how much I trust Derek Carr to be the guy you saw the first 2 weeks.
I don't like this take. I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think that this Saints offense is legitimate, and Aaron Rodgers is old as trash. I think that over the season, Olave is going to prove the more reliable receiver.
But, oh man, I don't know, man. You want to trust Derek Carr, you really do. But the other thing that kind of scares me is I had said there was that conspiracy about Davante Adams. Who's his best friend? Derek Carr. Where could he possibly get traded to? The Saints. That takes a lot away from Olave at that point. So
that's true. Or
that's
with Aaron Rodgers.
I know. I didn't want you to say that. Don't put that juju out in the world here, all right?
So yeah, that would affect either one of those guys.
Yeah. So, but baby, I love you, by the way. Don't take that offensive.
Yeah, Aiden says he agrees with that. Rodgers said, I'm a Green Bay fan, and I loved Rodgers when he played for us, but he doesn't look the same.
Bro, last week he looked good. Dude, he was like 6 for 6 on the run throwing. He looked great. I don't know. I think I have a different take. I think Aaron Rodgers is coming back right now. I think, after last week's performance, if you'd asked me week 1, week 2, I'd have been like, yeah, ship him. Get him out of here. Right. But this week I'm going to go after last week. I thought he looked really good. He was after an injury to or it was Achilles, right? Was what he was coming off of, was the Achilles that he tore. After that, to see him running around and finding open space and getting the ball out so efficiently, I thought that he looked really good last week. I thought he showed a lot of promise. He does have the Surtain effect coming up this week. So if you have Allen Lazard, put him out there, get him played. But I still think he's going to get Garrett, 9 targets this week. He's going to be scrambling and getting out of the pocket and making plays happen.
That's funny. I didn't expect you to be so pro Rodgers. That's cracking me up right now a little bit.
I'm not a pro Rodgers. I hate Aaron Rodgers. I'm a Cowboys fan. I hate the guy.
Right.
But still, he's still, I got to call it how it is. I got to give the guy credit. I hated Tom Brady, but you win all those Super Bowls. You can't say he's not the GOAT,
Right.
He looked terrible compared to Jaden Daniels. Absolutely. We have more talk on that here coming up. So
yeah, we can go there now.
Enjoy the couch, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Once again, baby, love you. Okay, next one is going to be, this is my matchup, right? It's me against the Bears.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Bears on this one. And quickly talk about some of these people. I think the big one is that A.J. Brown trade that happened. He had Devontae Adams and Nick Chubb, gave them up for A.J. Brown. I actually voted to veto this. I'm going to be totally honest. Wow. And it's because I didn't want to see A.J. Brown with Nico Collins and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That is such a nasty combo. Kenneth Walker's a good running back with Brian Robinson. I don't know. A.J. Brown, first week, 30 points. Now, before he got injured, he got 30 points. He was a high targeted person. I think he's a big play, always waiting to happen. Devontae Smith's usually at his best when A.J. Brown's out. And, even though he has some good games there, here and there, A.J. Brown is a solid or wide receiver one, set it and forget it type of situation, So A.J. Brown is a good pickup for him. He is out this week. But the big factor for me is Kenneth Walker up against this hard-nosed Detroit Lions defense. I mean, man, they do not give up yards on the run for sure. So I think as long as Kenneth Walker can get eaten up, I think I have a real good chance this week against the Bears team, who is really scary, as we said last week, but
they've got a lot of boom potential. I'll talk about your team. Jaden Daniels certainly put up some big numbers the other day and really impressed a lot of people. He is awesome. I was going to talk about him as one of my booms, but he is an amazing player, and he looks just like he looked at LSU. He looks comfortable. He looks calm. He is so shifty. He slips out of tackles, and he doesn't take the big hits as much as other people. He still gets some hits because he does run a good bit, but he just seems to just slip out of the big, ugly hits that you see some of these other guys taking. The other thing I want to talk about is your tight end. So you tried to get Cole Kmet in the waiver wire, as we talked about, and Cameron stole him. So you're stuck with Strange. So hopefully that doesn't become your Achilles heel.
Well, the good news for me is that I actually picked him up yesterday. This did one of two things for me. The Bears he has Zach Ertz, but he also has Evan Ingram. So with Evan Ingram up, I pick up the other tight end. Last week, it was almost the only person that Trevor Lawrence was looking to. He got 9.2 points last week. He got 9.5 points the week before. So he's averaging about 9 points in the tight end position right now. If I can get 9 points, I'm going to be looking pretty all right this week. So that's what I went for with that. I did have your boy, Tucker, in there. But I decided to switch him up for Strange just because he has been averaging 10 points a week.
Yeah, Tucker, I think, got picked up and dropped twice this week in the waiver wires. No one's believing in that Packers passing attack until Jordan Love turns that around. I mean, Malik Willis, the center's throwing up on the ball and hiking it to Malik Willis. He can't throw it. Like it's a problem in Green Bay right now. So who knows? Maybe Jordan Love will come back and get that on the right.
Get that back. But yes, Aiden, I did see that. That was probably the pass of the year so far. That pass from Jaden McDaniels, where, man, that guy was in his face within 2 seconds, and you throw a dime in the back corner to Terry McLaurin, which was, I got that guy in the 9th to 10th round. I think that's the reason why I'm 3-0 right now, is because Jaden Daniels is playing so well with the value I got from him.
It was a risk that paid off. We didn't know what he was going to look like.
Yeah.
It was great.
All right, moving on to the next one. And we're both projecting this one as me as the winner, right? I hope.
Yeah, I got Jordan winning that one.
Perfect. Who's our next one coming up? Is this the real Frozen Tundra?
Yeah, Frozen Tundra versus Cam. Pig's arse.
So I'll start with this one. I'll take the real Frozen Tundra. The other 3-0 team. One of the big reasons this guy is 3-0 is if I were to ask you who you thought averaged more points, Bijan Robinson or Brandon Aubrey, who would you take?
Bijan. Yeah.
Yeah, no. By point one, mind you, Brandon Aubrey's averaging 15.3 points, bro.
That's
Like, this
crazy.
is insane. He's had a 21 point, a 17 point, a 12 point, and 11 points. This guy is averaging as much as a running back or a receiver. What a pickup, man. I mean, like, your kicker's throwing you 10 plus points, averaging 15 points. You have a good chance of winning a lot of weeks just because you have that big difference. So Brandon Aubrey tearing it up. He did miss his first 50-yard field goal, or he would have been at like 16 to 17 points this week. So Brandon Aubrey, what a stud. Great find from the Cowboys. Of course, I'll talk about him because the Cowboys. The big difference for me this week is going to be Ramondre Stevenson, though. Which Ramondre are you getting? We all knew it was going to be hard to replicate the first 2 weeks. No one saw the New England Patriots leading against Cincinnati. No one saw them leading against Seattle. So he carried the ball 25 times that first week and 21 times against Seattle the second week because they could. They're going to be playing, obviously, they're going to be playing from behind a bunch, like last week against the Jets. And he essentially had 6 carries, 23 yards, a fumble, 0.3 points. So I think this is a big factor in that game coming up. They're playing San Francisco, which we talked about this a little bit earlier. Anytime you're playing Fred Warner, you have a chance to go for 0.3 points again. I think he's still going to get the win. But I also think that this is a really scary, this could essentially be a scary position for him if Ramondre Stevenson puts up the same points he put up or anywhere near the same points he put up last week.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I'm going to take who you got winning this matchup?
I got the real Frozen Tundra winning this.
Yeah, I matched that. I have the real Frozen Tundra as well. My key for Cam, Cam's 0-3, and he's trying to weather the storm a little bit here. He needs Josh Jacobs to have a good week for him. The Green Bay has been feeding him the rock. He's getting 14 plus carries a game. The Packers are in goal line situations, running the ball with him frequently, but they're not able to punch it in with him a lot. But he's getting the chances. Against the Vikings, I think they'll be able to punch a couple in. So I think that Cam's only chance to beat the real Frozen Tundra is for Josh Jacobs to have a big day. Connor's great. Brock Bowers has been great. Pat Mahomes has been pretty close to who he needs to be. But yeah, it's he needs Josh Jacobs to have a big day for him again.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. Cam's going to be a scary team down the road.
Yeah.
He is. Josh, I think he made the trade. He's going to have Mike Evans. At one point, he's going to be playing Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, and Puka Nacua when he gets back onto the field. You'll still have James Conner, Pat Mahomes. Like, his team could be really scary. He just needs to try to pick up some of these wins. Hopefully, he does get a win. Hopefully, I'm wrong this week and he picks up the win, but he could be a scary team to face later on down the road.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about. I picked the real Frozen Tundra. Let's do Finkel Einhorn versus Taylor's team. Chipmunk laugh.
Chipmunk laugh.
That's a Lamson laugh right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is for Finkel Einhorn. That's Daniel's team. Brock is going to show out versus New England. New England has a good defense, but they've shown that they can give up points. And Brock had a bad week last week. He's going to want to bounce back. He's got Deebo Samuel back, apparently. He's going to have a big week. I also like Jamar Chase on this team for Cincinnati versus Carolina. Are you kidding me? Yeah, Jamar Chase is going to have a day, and Cincinnati, it's going to be they're going to let all that frustration out from last week. So I expect Cincinnati 0-3.
No, 1-2, right?
1-2.
Yeah. The Red Rifle came out last week, dominating.
Yeah, but Jamar Chase, I expect him to do great things for Finkel Einhorn and pull off the victory.
Yeah,
Taylor.
love that. Tay, I think, is going to have a great week. I do want to talk about a few players. First off, how could we not, elephant in the room? How do you not talk about Jordan Mason? He could easily get you. They're playing the New England Patriots. They're going to play from ahead for most of this game. He could potentially have a 20 to 25 carry a game for 150 yards and a tutty or two. Once again, he's kind of limited on that receiving part of it, which kind of sucks for him. And then there's also the fact that Deebo Samuels is coming back. So he does take some of those runs. Like week 1, he took a rushing touchdown away from what could have been a Jordan Mason. So, but the real factor for me is, does Travis Kelce ever get back to being Travis Kelce? Ever get back to being the guy that you drafted in round 3 to pick up? Some people picked him up in round 2. He has been nowhere to be seen recently. I mean, the guy is almost unplayable week in and week out. For a guy who dominated the league so much, he is ranked 22 in tight ends this year. He is averaging 5 points per game 3 weeks into it. He is not even getting targeted. The guy has week 1, 4 targets, week 2, 3 targets, week 3, 5 targets. Guy's averaging like 3 targets a game. What happened? Who did you hurt? Who did you hurt on Patrick Mahomes' family for him to not throw you the ball no more? Like, is it age? Is this what we see? I don't know. That's a huge question for me, for Taylor's team. But overall, I think that he slips it out because Bucky Irving might not even play. Mind you, Finkel Einhorn did play Joe Mixon last week and still win. So if we have another one of those situations, he could still pull it off. But I'm going to go ahead and take Tay on this one.
Taylor Swift is keeping him busy. We maybe Taylor doesn't like him as much anymore. And yeah, that's why he's struggling.
Yeah, he's going through some heartbreak.
I won a bet with a coworker this week. We made a bet last year. She said that they would be married by this time this year. And I said no. And so I won that bet with a coworker.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Alabama fan in the room. Let's talk about Caleb versus Skip this week. Caleb. Well, you're talking about Caleb.
I'm taking Caleb this week. And so Caleb, for me, I know I talked trash on your Tyreek Hill, so I do apologize. But Tyreek Hill is going to be a breaker in this. But the people I want to talk about on here, Tony Pollard and Zach Moss, man, they can be a serious force this week. Tony Pollard has a chance to have a bounce back week up against Miami. I don't think Miami's offense is all that great. They just got spanked last week. So I think that Tony Pollard is in. He could have himself a good week. And they're going to be playing ahead, I believe. I don't think Huntley is going to be doing better than Skylar Thompson. So I think they're going to be playing ahead. He's going to have a real chance to have a bounce back week. Zach Moss, as we were talking about Jamar Chase, anybody who's playing Carolina, give me a piece of that. And Zach Moss came out last week, got a touchdown, 20 points. He's still averaging 13.5 points a week, but I think he could get that boom this week with a good 17 to 20. And I think that those two will be a deciding factor in this matchup. I'm taking Birmingham this week to get his second victory of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jordan. I think this is going to be a tight contest between these two, but I think that Birmingham pulls it off just because I think Skip has some difficult decisions this week. He's got ETN playing against Houston, stingy defense. He's got Xavier Worthy down there, who you don't know what you're going to get from Xavier Worthy. He's got and he's got Iosivas sitting on his bench right now, who I think is going to catch a lot of touchdowns in Cincinnati. And then Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison's sitting on his bench as well. So Skip's got some decisions to make. They're tough decisions, and I think that he unfortunately is going to have a lot of points on his bench, and Birmingham is going to pull off a victory.
Yeah, in no way, shape, or form am I trusting a guy getting three targets a game. I'm taking Jordan Addison, and on top of that, Brandon Ayuk's not. Brandon Ayuk's got to share with Debo and Jennings. Too many mouths to feed. He's not high enough on the pecking order.
I didn't even talk about Ayuk. I meant to.
No worries. I got you.
Damn it. It's all right. I'm not supposed to swear. That's my fault.
Thunderbolts about to shock Skip. Let's go, Thunderbolts.
It's gonna be close though. It's gonna be a tight contest. I'm excited. Again, Skip beat me last week with Josh Allen scoring 1 million points in prime time
and sat on fourth quarter.
And then here we go. Josh Allen in prime time against Lamar Jackson. It's going to be an exciting finish between these two this week. It's going to be just good football, good fantasy football. It's going to be great all the way around.
Yeah, I don't think I have any primetime games this week. I think all my whole team is decided in the morning. For the most part. I think I have like 2 people in the afternoon and then the rest in the morning.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad CD already has 30 for me.
Yeah, oh, sure. 25 in the first half. That's what was it? A 60-yard touchdown? What is yes? Boom.
Well, guys, appreciate all the people in the chat. We definitely want to address any questions you have, and feel free to continue to comment. We'll check later on and answer what we can. Appreciate you guys listening to both the live stream and the podcast. It's going to be on Spotify, and we're also on TikTok. We put a few videos out, so give us some love there. JD Fantasy Football. J stands for Jordan Cordova, the Picasso of fantasy football. He has won before. He got second last year, and he's on pace to be contention for winning again. And then David, I finished third, and I've done poorly other than that. So you can take that for how you want. I'm donating money in this league, but it's fun as hell. I love everyone in the league, mostly. So yeah, it's a great league, and we have a lot of smack talk, and yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in.
Yeah, I love that everyone tuned in this week. This has been a lot of fun, Dave. I appreciate you coming on this every week. I know we work lots of hours, so I love that we're able to put this together. On top of that, guys, love the questions. Please come in with as many questions as you guys like. We love being interactive with everyone. So please keep up the questions and give us a follow here. We appreciate everyone here.